right, Sally, Susie, Nellie, whatever you want to call them. I was hoping we'd actually have a little bit of a little boxing talk tonight. This is your Bolo Punch Boxing Hour, brought to you by George Rogie Insurance. www.bolopunchboxinghour.com. Streaming to you live, as always, on Ustream.tv. Timmy the producer Patterson over at the controls. Emil Soto Pavinsky Hegebein. I am your host, Chris Guzman. Plenty of stuff in the world of boxing this week. I'm just having a hard time pulling it up, actually.
Well, Showtime had a couple big fights on this weekend. Miguel Kessler fought, and Andre Ward fought. Both leading up to they wanted to fight on the same night. Well, Kessler was already fighting. Andre Ward wanted to fight on the same night, kind of showing his competitive nature. Wanted to make sure that he didn't have some kind of unfair advantage where he had a longer break than what Kessler did. And they both showed that they could knock the guy out pretty easily. Ward's not always been known as a big knockout puncher, but he actually, in this one, looked like he had a little bit more than what Kessler had.
Well, both of them ended their fights on knockouts. What it really comes down to is comparing Gusmir Perdomo along with Shelby Pudwill. Those are the two guys that should have fought, because we know who is going to be fighting, and really you're stacking up apples versus armpits. I mean, you're fighting two different guys, and we want to know what those two guys are going to be doing when they fight each other. So it's strange to and they only started doing this a few years ago, putting guys that you know are about to fight on the same card on the same night in the same stadium.
And these guys are in that Super 6 tournament, and they're scheduled to be the first fight in the Super 6 tournament.
Which shows how far we have to go until that Super 6 tournament begins, because both these guys just fought 6 days ago or 5 days ago. First and foremost, the whole shebang was in Herning, Denmark. Super middleweight action, Miguel Kessler, TKO victory in the 4th round over Gusmir Perdomo. He retains his super middleweight championship of the world. Kessler, 42-1 with 32 knockouts. Perdomo moving on down to 16-3 with 10 knockouts. To call this dominant just doesn't even cover it.
Yeah, Perdomo, he knew coming into basically in the Kessler's backyard here, he had to score a knockout. He couldn't even fight his own style because he had to try to get the knockout. He couldn't really run from Kessler, because he knew if he ran in just a little bit, he's not going to win that round. So he tried to press the action, but it doesn't work out too well when Kessler's pressing action as well. And Kessler's known for that great jab that he has, and followed by that number 2 punch. I mean, like most European fighters, they get that good 1-2. And
Kessler ran the show. It looked like Perdomo didn't even belong in the ring with him. But he's so accurate. I mean, the jab is actually really fantastic on him.
But Kessler is the favorite in the Super 6 tournament?
Only because of age and because of experience.
And
Kessler's biggest fight was against Joe Calzaghe.
Andre Ward, who looked really good this night, and it looked like he has everything just as much as Kessler, to me. He's probably the second. I mean, Andre Durrell is actually a little bit worse of a favorite to win this than what Andre Ward is.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, those two guys have, I think, better chance because they are younger. They have a better chance at lasting through this whole tournament without some major injury.
Well, between those guys, you've got youth. You've got 20 and 22 wins between them. They're both undefeated.
And Andre Durrell,
a whole lot of amateur background on both these guys.
Andre Durrell is a big power puncher.
Big time power puncher.
And you get more points for knockouts in this tournament. So you have a better chance advancing if you can knock the guy out. That's why I think Durrell actually
has a better chance than Ward.
Than a lot of these guys. I think you know the guys that Abraham has obvious power. And
both of these guys scored knockouts here. Can they be scoring knockouts against one another is the question.
Yeah, they both have. I mean, they have good defense, and but Andre Ward, I think when he fights a better class opponent, he's more known to wear the guy out. He can press. I mean, you've seen it against Miranda. He just wore Miranda out by pressing the action the whole time.
True.
And actually, in the 8th round of Miranda, when he fought Miranda, he just went inside and just took it to Miranda. And after that round, Miranda was basically done. If he could do the same thing with Kessler, I mean, he could stop him if he wears him out bad enough. But
No.
Kessler was
Kelsey couldn't stop Kessler.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna
And
say.
that was 2 years ago when Kessler was even younger than he is now. No, Andre Ward's not going to be stopping Kessler. He could outpoint him, but if there's a knockout, it'll be Kessler knocking out Ward. And I don't really see a knockout. I see 12 rounds in that fight.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be a decision. Who do you think is going to come out ahead in this one?
I have to go with Kessler. I have to go with experience. I have to go with a guy that's been to that dance so many times.
My problem is I haven't seen a lot of Kessler fights. I've seen a couple of his fights. You know, I've obviously seen the Calzaghe fight.
Sure.
And I've seen a couple of fights since then, but they were much lesser opponents.
Well, the style you were referring to, the European rigid Tin Man style, is all the rage right now. There are Americans that are actually training that way because they see how fruitful it is to train that way and to be able to perform that way.
I mean, that was Larry Holmes style. Basically, the Europeans just decided that's it.
I wouldn't agree there. Just having a great jab does not make you European style. It's having the great jab
followed by the two,
and that pretty much being it. Larry Holmes had power in both hands, and you're gonna get a bunch of people on our chat room saying,
well,
to say that Larry Holmes was a 1-2 fighter is calling the Taj Mahal a well-painted house.
But that's what he's mostly known for, is having
known
that.
For his jab. He's
Yeah.
known for his jab. But it was a right hand.
I'm not saying that he had a pitter-pat jab either. I mean, that's what makes these fighters.
No.
That's what's making the Klitschko's so great. That's what's making Kessler great. Is they throw that power jab, it really wears on the opponent instead of just pitter-patting with it. I mean, the one Klitschko, the older Klitschko, he does pitter-pat a little bit. He kind of just holds that jab out there and works. Basically, he throws one punch. He throws the two, and that's it. And seems to work for him.
Well, yeah, it's definitely been working. And then they cut to Temecula, California, Saturday night, same night. Super middleweight action. Andre Ward, TKO victory in the third round over Shelby Pudwill. Ward is 20-0 with 13 knockouts. Pudwill doesn't much matter. He was an opponent. He acted like an opponent. TKO in the third round for Andre Ward. Just overpowered him.
Yeah, Pudwill coming in and said, if I look good, it may advance my career. I don't have to win this fight. If I look halfway decent, it'll lead to more fights. And problem was he didn't look decent.
Except for the whole not looking decent part. Everything went according to plan. Also, you got James Toney on that undercard, which no one knew.
Yeah, no one.
I mean, he slipped in under the radar. Knockout in the second round, TKO in the second round over Matt Greer. He's 72-6 with 44 knockouts, Mr. James Toney.
Yeah.
Still an exciting fighter to watch. I just really don't like seeing him fight at heavyweight.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan of the heavyweight Toney.
Even it's worse now because he's so overweight now. He was overweight when he first came up, but he just keeps putting on the weight. I mean, that comes with age too, but you could tell he could still fight. He knows how to use that shoulder. Actually, and Tavoris Cloud said last week that was his favorite fighter to watch growing up. We figured Roy Jones, we figured wrong.
Yeah, true. There was a quote after this, and then we'll go to a commercial. James Toney says, if I can get one of the Klitschko sisters to fight my next fight, I'll come in lighter than I did for Holyfield, maybe 211 or 210. Those are some strong words. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back with all the fights that are going to be getting us through the week, and we'll be making our picks for Mayweather Marquez right here on Bolo Punch.